behind. Bad bitches, every city in my tribe. Look behind. Booty dominate.
They are elected by their constituents who are from specific states.
I said, at the federal level, you have no control over what laws are made. At the state level,
I think that there should be no laws regarding abortion. It should be legal at the federal level, so states cannot impose human rights violations.
No other medical procedure in the world is legal at a federal level. Everything that is overseen is by the state, whether it's a medical board, whether it's oh my gosh, it's weird. So whether it's a medical board, if it's a medical malpractice procedure, you take that to the state. A doctor is given his medical license by the state, and you can't all procedures are not available in each state. So there's people that travel for plastic surgery. There's people that travel for stem cell transplants. So not every state offers every medical procedure. And there's nothing in the Constitution that says that any medical procedure is a right. And what the Supreme Court does is the Supreme Court upholds the Constitution and your constitutional rights.
So that's not actually true?
That is true.
No, a lot of drugs are legal.
True?
A lot of drugs are legal at the federal level because they're regulated by the FDA, which is not a state organization.
Drugs are not procedures, medical procedures.
There are you realize some medical procedures use drugs from the FDA, like chemotherapy.
What in the Constitution gives you the right to another person's services?
So
sure, nothing does. So then all abortion is illegal.
Constitution was not designed. The Constitution was not designed to enumerate every single right that we have. That's what the 9th Amendment is for.
Okay, but guess what? Roe v. Wade cited the 14th Amendment, not the 9th.
The 14th Amendment
you just did not even listen to what I just said.
Privacy.
If somebody brings a case to the Supreme Court, they have to cite what amendment is being violated. When they brought Roe v. Wade, they said the 14th Amendment.
I would argue that the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, which is a federal law, makes it so that you have to receive medical care. The states can't deny medical care. That law means anyone who comes.
An emergency.
Hold the phone. That's not what we're talking about. You said that there are no laws making medical procedures mandatory at the federal level, but the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act makes medical procedures regulated at the federal level.
An emergency, life-saving measures. Abortions are not life-saving measures.
No. That's not what we're talking about.
They can't be.
You made a claim. They also can't be. You made a claim that there is no federal law that makes medical procedures mandatory at the federal level or regulated at the federal level. And I'm telling you that that's false. You made a claim.
Okay, so what medical procedures does your act protect?
So the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act makes it a federal law. Oh my God, are you fucking dense?
No, I'm not. It's an emergency.
You are.
Which means emergency care,
medicine
to
still
save
medicine?
your life.
Is emergency medicine still medicine? Is it still medical treatments?
It is medical treatment.
Is it medical treatments that are regulated at the federal level? Yes. You said that they weren't. And guess what? You were wrong. For the second time in this live, you were immeasurably wrong about something.
No, I'm not, because it's an emergency
care.
I'm talking about elective surgeries. Plastic surgery. Did you not hear me talk about plastic surgery? Did you not hear me lump that in with abortion, stem cell transplants, all that stuff?
Would you say that prenatal care is elective?
Yes.
So we should regulate that as well?
Prenatal? No. If it's elective, it shouldn't be regulated. There's some women out there that do not take prenatal care because it's against their religion or whatever.
Well,
it's their choice if they want prenatal care.
So then you're for people having the choice to have an abortion.
No.
Why?
because here's the thing. I'm fine with abortion as long as it's first trimester and first trimester only.
Why?
But Roe v. Wade doesn't cover that. Roe v. Wade says a woman can have an abortion at any time of the pregnancy. There's no
It does
safeguard.
not.
There's
Roe
no
v.
cutoff.
Wade was the trimester
Doesn't.
framework.
The states themselves put a decision on whether or not to have it at 12 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever.
That is not true. That is not
That
true.
is
Man,
true.
have you
Roe
even
v.
read Roe
Wade
v.
is
Wade?
too
Roe
broad.
v.
Roe
Wade,
v. Wade
Roe v.
covers the
Wade
entire
is
pregnancy.
a trimester framework because they said
No,
that
it's
there is no
not.
state interest. Yes, it is.
Roe
Because
v.
they said
Wade
there is no.
allows a third trimester abortion. Roe v.
It
Wade
does
allows a
not.
second trimester. It does too.
It does not.
It does
Like,
too.
how can you be so uneducated on this?
Roe v.
I'm going to
Wade
read
says
you directly.
it's her
I'm
body,
going to
her
read
choice,
you.
right?
I'm going to read you directly what Roe v. Wade
Throughout
says.
the
Roe v. Wade
entire
says
pregnancy.
Roe v. Wade says during the first trimester, when it was believed that the procedure was safer than childbirth, the court ruled that a state government could place no restriction on women's ability to choose to abort pregnancies other than imposing minimal medical safeguards.
What does Roe v. Wade, what does the language of Roe v. Wade say?
From the second trimester on, the court ruled that evidence of increasing risk to the mother's health gave states a compelling interest that allowed them to enact medical regulations on abortion procedures so long as they were reasonable and narrowly tailored to protecting mother's health. From the beginning of the third trimester on, the point at which a fetus became viable under the medical terminology available in the early 1970s, the court ruled that a state's interest in protecting prenatal life became so compelling that it could legally prohibit all abortions except where necessary to protect the mother's life or health. You can find this at Roe 410 U.S. at 164. That is the line and passage of Roe v. Wade that states this.
So at the federal, you're talking about states now. You're talking
The
about
federal
what the federal
government
level is
said
given
that the states
But
could
at the
impose
federal
rules
level, Roe v.
after the
Wade does
second
not
trimester.
protect a fetus in any trimester.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It
Roe
doesn't.
v. Wade states that after the second trimester, the states get to decide.
The states get to decide. Right, which means that there's no ban.
No, that means that you're wrong. That Roe
No,
v.
it doesn't.
Wade. Yes, it does.
So
Like
you're
that's
shit.
like
So
this
you're
is how little you
with the
actually know,
states
because that
stepping
was the
in.
criticism of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is based on trimester framework, saying
No,
that
it's
the
not.
state can't have a compelling interest in a pregnancy that is prior to the 24th week because it is a non-viable fetus. That was criticized during Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which wanted to bring an undue burden clause. Like, he just read it to you.
But you guys are now talking. So what I'm saying is on the federal level, Roe v. Wade does not protect a fetus the entire time. It's her body, her choice, right? Her body, her choice the entire
All
time.
Roe v. Wade did was say that states could not impose rules during the first trimester, and during the second and third, states could do what they wanted, as long as they were not putting undue burden on the mother.
So for the states, they could actually trimester abortion. That's the problem.
How is the federal government imposing rules when their rule is the states can do what they want?
Because it's a government overreach to say, hey,
to tell the
at
states
the
they can
federal
do what they
level,
want?
You're
That's a
going to
government
govern
overreach.
Something that should be handled at the state.
It's a federal overreach to tell the states they can do what they want. That's what you're telling me.
I'm sorry?
You're telling me it's a federal overreach for the federal government to tell the states they can do what they want.
It's a government overreach for the federal government to interfere in a state issue.
And I think it's a state overreach to tell a person who's pregnant that they can interfere in their issues.
Well, good. Then they can move to another state that agrees with their way of thinking.
People are poor, Karen. They can't
People
just
are
move.
poor. Mm-hmm. You don't think the government's going to start shelling out money for free abortions, free travel, all of that?
No. Our government has never paid money towards abortion because that is illegal under the Hyde Amendment.
Actually, they do.
They don't. It's illegal under the Hyde Amendment. Do you know what the Hyde Amendment is?
Who funds Planned Parenthood?
Do you
Who
know what the
funds
Hyde
Planned
Amendment is?
Parenthood?
Do you
Don't
know
I have
don't pivot.
what
already
the
answered
Hyde
several of your
Amendment
questions.
is?
Just answer mine. Who funds Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood, as medical providers, is able to receive.
It's what now?
Sorry,
It's
my
able to
phone
receive
tried to
what?
charge. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's able to receive government funding for anything that is not
Mm-hmm.
an abortion, because the Hyde Amendment makes it so they cannot receive money for that. They get the rest of their money from private donations. They get money from grants. They get money from a lot of different places, but they are not
Where
able
do they
to use
get
the
money?
government's
Where
money
does
on
the
abortion.
grant money come from? Where does the grant money
Grants
come
can
from?
come from private companies. They mostly come from private companies, because they don't need to go get government grants, because they receive money directly from the government for other services.
Here's the deal.
So this
I
line
don't
of
agree with
questioning
any
No,
doesn't
statement.
prove
you've
your
been proven
point.
wrong for the fourth time.
No,
You've
I
been
Like
proven
no,
wrong
I
for the
haven't.
fourth time.
yes,
No,
yes, you
I
have.
told
Like,
you
how
that
can you
Roe
not
v. Wade
recognize that?
does not allow for any protections for a fetus throughout the entire pregnancy. What you read to me is
That's
that
not what Roe
there
v.
was a
Wade is
rider
Roe v.
designed to
that you
Wade.
put
do.
in there
That is not
stating
what
that
Roe v. Wade is
the
designed to
states
do. It is not
can
designed. It was not a
decide
court
second or
case
third trimester
designed to give
abortions.
the rights
So
to a
you had
fetus.
some states
Why are
that were
you just
actually
continuing to
trying to
talk? Why are
push,
you just continuing to talk?
because I was actually talking to him and I'm answering his question because he's accusing
No,
me of being wrong for the third
you
time.
are. And you know what? You
Wrong
don't
for the third
listen.
time.
You don't listen. That is your issue. You don't listen and you don't accept information that counters your own belief.
That's not true, because
It
I'm
is.
sitting here.
You were shown
Listen,
a
as soon
freaking
as I
video.
walked in here, all three of you started jumping up on my ass and didn't actually even let me get a thought out before you all started throwing
said
up your shit.
misinformation.
It's not
If you hadn't come in
misinformation.
here, you said, let's go through all the things you've been wrong about so far. The first thing you said was that Jane Roe took back her statement and was actually paid by pro-choice people.
Yes,
that
you're
was
right.
wrong.
I am a
You
Christian.
saw the video of her right before she died. That is wrong. She said she was paid by pro-life people to say all of that, and that she took all of their money and she regrets doing it. The next thing you were wrong about, which was it? Kenzie, I can't even remember all the incorrectness.
Oh, you can't even remember all the incorrect.
The Roe v. Wade, how the federal and the state government work, and then
No, I was right about how the federal and state
no,
government
no,
works.
you're not. No,
Oh,
you're
I
not.
And I
remember.
was right
You
about
said,
the fact that at the
and I
federal
quote,
level,
that the federal government does not regulate anything medically at the federal level.
let
That's
me
wrong.
explain
You
something to you. If you
There's no
guys
background
want the
noise.
federal government to be so far in your business that you're going to let them have power over every medical procedure that you have or don't have, if you guys are good with that,
Tell me how
you're
the
going to reap
federal
what you sow
government,
there.
due to Roe v. Wade, had power.
I'm sorry?
Tell me how the federal government, due to Roe v. Wade, had power that affected people.
How the federal government enacting Roe v. Wade affected people?
Yeah.
Well, because if you look at what the federal government's function is, the federal government's function is
I don't want the federal government's function. I want you to tell me how Roe v. Wade being ruled on was government overreach.
because it's not the federal government's place to regulate a state issue.
So the federal government shouldn't have jumped in for slavery.
About?
They should have just let that stay a state
Medical
issue.
Procedures, medical
No,
issues
that's
are a
a good
state
question.
issue.
Don't pivot.
Well, you said the federal government should never jump in on a state issue.
Right.
So should the federal government have never intervened in slavery? We should just let that stay a state's issue?
That wasn't a state's issue. That was North and South.
North and South what?
Actually, it was a Republican president,
what?
and it was the
North
Republicans
and South
that freed the
what?
slaves.
Don't
North
pivot.
and South what, ma'am?
There was the North, and then there was the
North
South. You had two
what?
separate
And
presidents
South
in the United States because they weren't united at that point.
North what and South what?
The North states to the South states.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what did the South states want?
So guess what happened? The South surrendered, and then all of the country became governed under one president.
They were governed under one president before
No,
the
they
South tried to
weren't. There,
secede.
no,
dummy.
they weren't. There was two presidents. There was the president
No,
to the
there
south and the
weren't.
president to the north.
What the
Google
fuck?
it, buddy.
No, there
Google
weren't.
it.
Wait. Who are the presidents? Who are the presidents?
Google it.
Who are the
Google it,
presidents?
pal.
No, tell me. Tell me who are the
Shit.
presidents.
You guys want to Google everything? Google it.
No, I want you to tell me because you are
George
really
Washington was only president of the
One
North?
second. You are really confident in this opinion. I would like to know who the two presidents were during the Civil War.
Davis and Lincoln.
Davis
and Lincoln. Davis was south, Lincoln was north.
Oh my God. She's talking about Jefferson Davis, who the South elected as the president of the Confederacy because they seceded.
Right. They seceded. Exactly.
Illegally.
Illegally, they seceded.
Here's a question. How many presidents were there before Jefferson Davis was elected?
He was the only one. He was the only one of the South.
Oh, okay. So you mean there was one president throughout all of American history. Then the South decided we're going to leave the Union.
You're wrong. There were two
I'm not
presidents,
wrong,
weren't there?
dummy. There weren't two presidents of the United States. The South tried to secede
Y'all
from the United
suck
States.
A dick because you don't
there was
fucking
one
listen.
president. You don't listen. You know what? Kenzie, am I a mod on your platform? Am I a fucking mod? Please tell me I'm a mod. Please.
You should be.
Please, I can't. I'm not, Kenzie. Make me mod right now.
Okay.
I am so
You're
done
mod.
with Miss Karen, doesn't know anything, thinks she's smart and isn't. Like, so stupid, bro. Oh my God. There literally weren't two American presidents. Holy shit, bro.
Didn't that feel good? I thought I was waiting for her to get banned. Don't kick her, she's entertaining. That was frustrating.
I can feel like I've never like there's this pounding in the back.
I'm so fucking cute, bitch. I'm so fucking cute.